What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Okay, so we have some more insanity going on with our Article 3 right now, the judiciary in this country, and they are overstepping their bounds by leaps and bounds. As a matter of fact, at least in my humble opinion, who am I? I am just some construction worker turned journalist under the actual definition of journalism, because I deliver news to you guys, so it is what it is. But I'm just a dude that decided, I'm tired of the lies and manipulation from the corporate press, so I'm going to voice my opposition to that manipulation. And, folks, we are where we are right now, and check this out. Judge blocks Trump administration from arresting Columbia student who grew up in New York County. Oh, they grew up in New York County, but does that matter? Okay, so why would they include that into the headline? Right off the top, they tell on themselves constantly, like the corporate press does, telling on themselves, because why would that be significant that it needs to, find its way to the headline of a news article? Oh, she grew up in New York County. What does that mean? That is meant to make you think this person is a citizen. That is what that is meant to do. That Donald Trump is arresting and trying to deport United States citizens. That's what that is meant to do, folks. But this person is not a U.S. citizen and is currently a criminal alien. Or I would say, this person is currently an illegal immigrant. What does that mean? What is the delineation between those two? A criminal alien is a person that has lost their minds and decides to come across our border illegally with no authority to do so. That is a criminal alien. So they broke the law to get here. An illegal immigrant is a person that came in through the legal process, right? Whether that be visa, H-1B, whatever it is, green card, blah, 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 you name it. There's all kinds of different processes, by which you can enter this country legally. And this person entered the country legally, but had her visa revoked because she's an insane leftist that sides with Hamas. Oh, they're not going to tell you that, though. Yeah, these people are involved in these campus protests. And, I'm sorry, look, a lot of people are criticizing the Trump administration over cancellation of these visas. Oh, they're going after free speech. Well, you know what? These people don't get freedom of speech. Not in our country. Not if you're a guest. I don't care if she grew up in York County, grew up in York County or not. They're here on a visa. That means they are a guest. And a guest should not backmouth the host, for crying out loud. You do not look a gift horse in the mouth, so to speak, right? Can we all agree that you don't look a gift horse in the mouth? Let me know if you agree or disagree down in the comments section. But, look, we're sorry. You voice opposition to the American government as a guest in this nation. We most certainly have the right and should kick you out of this country. That is your fault. You want to voice your opposition pretty much unfettered and unchecked? Become a citizen. That's all you got to do. That's a simple process, right? I mean, sure, it takes a while, but it's a very simple process. Like I said, I understand what you might be thinking. Well, it's not simple, it's complicated. It's not that complicated. You go sign up. You got to take a test, sure. But that's not complicated, taking a test. Signing up to become a citizen, that's not complicated, folks. And then you get all the rights under the Constitution just like everybody else does. But until that point, the State Department has the right to revoke visas for any reason whatsoever. But the corporate press, they're not going to tell you that, folks. They're just going to try to make you think that old orange man over there in the White House at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue is an evil guy, and that, hang on, you're evil if you voted for him. That's what they're trying to make you think. A Manhattan federal judge on Thursday issued a preliminary injunction blocking the Trump administration from detaining Columbia University student Yoon Chung, a green card holder who sued to stop her imminent arrest. From the bench, Judge Naomi Rice Buchwald also denied the federal government's motion to dismiss Chung's case, which accuses immigration authorities of retaliation against her free speech rights to defend Palestinians and college students facing discipline for their advocacy. Now, what that is, and I love that, at least they told you what the Trump administration, they were trying to dismiss the case so they could immediately deport this lady out of the country. But the judge saw right through that. She's standing up for the freedom of speech rights of students all across the world. This is insane, y'all. It really is. They are stopping the Trump administration from arresting illegal immigrants and deporting people. That's what they're doing. Stopping ICE from doing its job. Once again, violating our Constitution. And yeah, I can say that with the absolute certainty. It's a violation of the Constitution because nowhere in the Constitution, nowhere in Article 3, does it give a judge the power to stop the Trump administration or the Biden administration or the Obama administration, any administration, from carrying out its constitutionally authorized duties. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Well, this is what immigration court is supposed to be for. Right. But this judge is stopping the Trump administration from arresting and detaining this person. They've revoked her green card. She's no longer in the country legally. And a judge stopped the administration from arresting and detaining this person. This is insane. And once again, folks, these judges have lost their minds. This federal court has barred ICE from detaining Ms. Chung longer term as we litigate her important constitutional questions, said Ramzi Kassim, co-director of the CLEAR Project and at CUNY Law School. Chung's case differs from those of other pro-Palestinian non-citizen students targeted by the Trump administration in a key way. She sued before she could be picked up by federal agents, but rather than start removal proceedings, the Trump administration has maintained the threat of arresting Chung, as they should. That's what the Constitution prescribes, by the way. Kassim said the preliminary injunction would offer the rising college senior some degree of reassurance that she can continue to go about her daily life, her studies, her work, her career plans as we fight on in court. Chung is in New York City, starting a summer internship. Sorry for those screw-ups, y'all. I don't know what happened right there, but that is fascinating. Once again, folks, this judge wants to make sure that this lady can continue to just go about her daily life. An illegal immigrant. Let's not forget that. This is an illegal immigrant currently. What do you mean by career plans, by the way? Does this judge have some sort of clairvoyance or something that she can see for a fact that this lady is going to be able to stay in the country? Career plans. Oh, because she's going to school to be a lawyer? Are you freaking kidding me? You can go to school anywhere in the world to be a lawyer. China, for crying out loud, has universities, and they churn out many, many, many lawyers. This is insane, y'all. It really is. Last week, Buchwald offered a path forward that she described as a win-win. The government could begin the deportation process against Chung if it plans to do so, but not arrest her, sparing her the pejoratives, as she put it, of being taken into custody. So now that's what that is, folks. It's a pejorative to arrest somebody. Once again, folks, like I said, Article 3 has lost their freaking minds. Buchwald said the government could start proceedings by serving either Chung's home address via mail or her lawyers. She suggested if the government were to try to avoid her jurisdiction, it would reflect poorly on their motivations. How so? Motivations like carrying out their constitutional authorized duties? Insane, insane, insane. What the government wants to do is arrest her and move her to Louisiana, Kassim told reporters, and put her in removal proceedings there so that it can avoid the jurisdiction of this court, so that it can have its removal case under the Fifth Circuit case, which is appeals court, by the way, in case you didn't know, law, which it seems to prefer, referring to a more conservative appeals court in the South. Yeah, that's called venue shopping, and I don't like it at all. I don't. But, once again, when you're in active administrative conflict, you cannot, uphold some principles. You have to go all in on the enemy. And that's what the Trump administration is doing by venue shopping these places, going to New Orleans. Because they do have some based judges there that they know are conservative a little bit. They know will rule based on the law. That's not a guarantee that they will rule in favor of the Trump administration, which the reason this case is being brought to this specific judge is because they know that this specific judge will rule in favor of the defendant. So, who's doing the venue shopping here? In a filing late Wednesday, 2 minutes before a court-issued deadline, according to the judge, the government indicated it would not agree to an alternative. The Department of Homeland Security did not return a request for comment, blah, 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 who cares? The answer is no. Read the letter to the court submitted by Manhattan U.S. Attorney Jay Clayton. ICE has broad discretion over actions and decisions to conduct arrests and initiate removal proceedings. That is true. Buchwald from the bench on Thursday suggested the government had made misrepresentations in court and in filings about whether the feds had a notice for Chung to appear in immigration court, going so far as to read statements from court transcripts back to the lawyers that made them. Specifically, she said she was disappointed because she did not think there was total candor with the court. I mean, how much more blatant can you get? The judge thought aloud that it seemed the government was not focused on starting the deportation process. If you're sincere about the need to have removal proceedings, you have a way, she added. You just choose not to do it, and then the question comes up, why not? Chung, 21, is a legal permanent U.S. resident and was the valedictorian of Grafton High School in York County in 2022. She moved from South Korea to the U.S. over 15 years ago with her family. How come these people are not U.S. citizens? That is the basis for all of this right now. If they would have decided to become U.S. citizens, they would not have anything to worry about, would they? This is insane. It really is. And now, because these judges get their emotions tied up into the litigation of what's going on, we get insanity instead of lawful actions. We just get insanity and emotions, and that's it. That aggravates me till no end. She was arrested on March 5th outside a brief occupation at the library at Barnard College, a women's college affiliated with Columbia. Oh, so that's what it was. Once again, folks, and they wait all the way to the end of the article to tell you that she was arrested. And for what, I might add? They're not going to tell you what she was arrested for. And I, in fact-checking this thing, could not find what her arrest record says. Could not find it anywhere. I looked. I ain't gonna lie, I didn't look for that long. It was only about 10 minutes, but I still couldn't find it. So I imagine it was disturbing the peace or something similar, right? Well, you don't get to come into this country as a guest and disturb the peace and think that we're going to allow you to stay. I'm sorry. That is not how guests of other countries work. These people are nuts, y'all. They think that everybody is entitled to our set of laws, our constitution, and citizenship in this country, or at least to be allowed to live in this country rent-free from Trump's face, I guess. It's nuts, y'all. Students, including Chung, were calling on Colombia to divest from Israel and protesting the expulsions of 3 classmates. She was released with a ticket ordering her to appear in court. Chung and recent Columbia graduate student Mahmoud Khalil, were named in a memo by Secretary of State Marco Rubio that claimed their presence in the country undermines U.S. foreign policy interests, the nonprofit news outlet The City first reported. After attempts to arrest Chung at her dorm room and her parents' home failed, she filed what is known as a habeas corpus petition challenging the government's efforts as unlawful. Yeah, that's habeas corpus. Yeah, that's standard operating procedure for these things. Buchwald issued a temporary restraining order against the government at the end of March. Thursday's preliminary injunction made that relief more long-term and acknowledged the irreparable harm that Chung could otherwise face. She's not a citizen. Before issuing her order, Buchwald at times appeared frustrated by the responses she received from the Trump administration lawyers. This is a new world, the federal judge said. Yes, it is. When Article 3 loses their freaking mind and decides that Donald Trump and his administration specifically cannot carry out their duties under the Constitution, we are definitely in a new world, folks. We have crossed the Rubicon a long time ago, and this is getting outright insane. These judges have gone off the rails, and they've lost their minds, and this shit is pissing me off until no end. When are we going to get some accountability for these stupid judges doing their quote-unquote constitutional duties? They are violating laws. They should be arrested, in my opinion, and that's all I got to say about that, because this is ticking me off so bad. I am seeing spots right now. It's pissing me off. These judges have lost their minds. They really have. But I think that's all I got on this one, y'all. Look, I could keep on ranting, but I'm not going to. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comments section. That's all I got. I want to thank everybody for watching. And y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.